The market square was loud. That morning merchants shouted. Their prices carts rolled across the dirt road. Chickens ran between people's legs. The smell of roasted meat and smoke filled the air. People argued, children laughed, dogs barked near the butcher stalls. It looked like a normal day, but near the old stone well something cruel was happening. Crowd had gathered at the center stood 3 large orc warriors. Their armor was heavy and scratched. Their tusks were long and yellow. Their voices were loud and mocking. Between them stood a young orc woman. Her shoulders were broad, her arms were strong. Her skin was deep green, but her head was lowered. The crowd watched silently. Some people whispered. Some looked uncomfortable, but no one stepped forward. One of the orcs grabbed the woman by her arm and pulled her forward. "Look at her," he shouted. His voice echoed across the square. The crowd grew quiet. "This female belongs to our clan. She was meant to give us strong children, but she cannot." The other orcs laughed loudly. Another warrior pushed her hard. "Baron," he shouted, "do Lister." Woman clenched her fists, but she said nothing. For many years she had served the clan. She hunted in the mountains. She fought in raids. She protected the camp during dangerous nights. Her axe had saved many lives, but none of that mattered. Only one thing mattered to them: children, and she could not give them any. The first orc raised his voice. "Again, even humans would not want such a failure." The crowd murmured. Some people looked away. Humiliation burned inside the woman's chest. She closed her eyes. Suddenly a calm voice spoke. "Let her go now." The words were quiet, but they cut through the noise like a blade. Everyone turned. A human man stepped forward from the crowd. He looked thin and tired. His clothes were simple and worn. His boots were dusty. A small bag hung from his shoulder. He looked poor, very poor. The orcs stared at him. Then they burst into laughter. "Did you hear that one, Cider? Human beggar thinks he can give orders." The man walked closer. His steps were slow and steady. "Let her go," he said. Again the orc, holding the woman, tightened his grip. "Or what human?" The human looked straight into his eyes. "You shame someone who has done nothing wrong." The orcs stepped closer. Their shadows covered the small Manu. "Know nothing about our clan," the leader growled. "She failed her duty. She is worthless." Human shook his head slowly. "No one is worthless." The crowd whispered against him. Expected the human to run. Others expected the orcs to attack, but the man did not move. He looked at the woman. "What is your name?" She hesitated. Her voice came out queer, Grathi. Human nodded. "Grasha." He said, "Do you want to leave?" Orcs laughed again. "Leave?" one of them said. "Where would she go? She belongs to us." The human looked back at them. "No one belongs to cruelty." The leader shoved the woman forward. "Take her." Then he sneered. "Take the useless orclet. USC, how long you keep her?" The woman fell to her knees in the dirt. For a moment she stayed there. Then the human stepped forward and helped her stand. She was much taller than him, much stronger. But in that moment she looked broken. "Come with me," he said quietly. She stared at him in confusion. "Why?" "'Cause it is the right thing to do." The crowd parted. As they walked away, the orcs shouted insults behind them, but the human never looked back. They walked through narrow village streets, past wooden houses, past barking dogs, past curious faces staring from windows. Finally, they reached a small hut at the edge of the village. The human opened the door. Inside there was very little. Wooden table, 2 chairs, a small bed, a cooking pot. Grasha looked around slowly. "You live here?" she asked. "Yes," the human replied. "Why help me?" The human poured water into a cup and gave it to Herbie. "'Cause someone should show." Studied his face carefully. "Humans fear orcs," she said. "Many do," he answered. "But you did not fear is easy." He said, "Kindness is harder." She sat quietly. After a moment, she asked, "What is your name?" "Tarin," he said. Days post Gracia stayed in the hut. At first she planned to leave, but Taran treated her like a person, not like a failure. They worked together. She hunted in the forest and brought meat. She repaired the roof and walls. She carried heavy logs from the hills. Taran grew vegetables near the hut. At night they shared simple meals and quiet conversations. Slowly Gracia began to smile again. One evening she sat outside watching the sunset. "You know, the orcs were right," she said. Quietly Taran looked at her. "About what? Tai cannot have children." Taran leaned against the wooden fence. "Did you fight for your clan? Yes. Did you protect them? Yes. Did you hunt and provide food? Yes. Then you already gave them strengths." She stared at the ground. "They only care about bloodlines. Then they are blind." Taran replied. Seasons passed. The forest turned green, then gold, then white. Villagers slowly accepted Gracia. Children followed her, asking about monsters and battles. She told them stories about mountain beasts and distant lands. But one morning, riders, Aravadorks, Gracia saw them from the hill. Her old clan day entered the village square. The leader climbed from his wolf mount. "So the Baron One lives with humans now," he said. Gracia stepped forward calmly. "Why are you here? Raiders attack our lands." The leader said, "Many warriors are wounded. We need fighters." Stared at him. "You shamed me before everyone. You ended my place in your clan." The leader looked uneasy. "Perhaps we judged you harshly." Another orc spoke urgently. "The raiders return soon. We need help." Gracia looked toward the hut. Taran stood quietly near the door. Finally she spoke. "We'll fight, but not for you. I will fight for the innocent." Battle in the hills was brutal. Raiders burned camps and attacked travelers. But Gracia fought like thunder. Her axe struck with unstoppable power. She saved wounded warriors. She protected frightened villagers. Even the orcs who once mocked her watched in silence. When the battle ended, the raiders fled into the mountains. The leader approached her slowly. "You fought with honor." Gracia wiped blood from her axe. "I always did." The leader lowered his head slightly. "Our clan would welcome you." Gracia looked toward the distant village. A small hut waited there, a place where she had never been called worthless. "I already have a home," she said. She turned and walked away. Days later she reached the hut. Against Taran was cutting wood outside. He looked up quickly. "You came back." Gracia smiled. "Of course. This is home." Years passed. They never had children, but travelers often found shelter in their small home. Hungry people, lost people, broken. Pia Plegracia protected them. Taran fed them. And everyone who heard their story learnt the same truth. Strength is not measured by birth. Worth is not decided by cruelty. And sometimes the bravest voice in a crowded world belongs to the poorest human, who simply says, "Let her go now."